I was always told that the best kinds of stories are the ones that make you laugh, cry, and shiver in equal parts. But fear has always been strange to me. Take, for example, this story. In the deep wild, far south of anything else on the continent, there rested a village called Banks. It was a small thing, home to no more than a few hundred small folk who enjoyed sights and all the quiet. A simple village, hidden in the trees. A sight that brings nothing but joy to those who see it. Not very fear-inducing, I know. But what if I told you that Banks has existed for hundreds of years, and the population has always remained the same? A few hundred, no more, no less. There was a little innovation in Banks. When the metal men came with their knowledge of train tracks and artifacts, Banks turned them away. Then came the cloaked reavers, clad in armor and molten swords like tongues of fire, and still, Banks turned them away. Well, it might be more accurate to say that the force swallowed them whole, rather than Banks. But that matters little. You see, Banks never changes. Not for anything, not for anyone. Hundreds of years, in the same buildings as the day it was founded, the same roads, the same exact trees, and the same people. Empires rose, civilizations fell, and Banks remained the same, ungrowing, unmoving. Beneath that cloak of trees stood the longest and smallest empire the world had ever seen. Now we're getting there, but every empire needs a ruler, and Banks was no exception. But if I told you that in that small, wooden village in the forest, there lived a being. There was a powerful force in the city of Banks, more creature than animal, more spirit than man. This was a being to whom I'd come to know very well, and so I want you all to do something for me. Imagine, for a moment, listen to my story, if you have the time to spare. I grew up in Banks, and it was the greatest childhood a boy could have. My father taught me to string back a bow before I could walk. Asher, he'd say to me, always draw with the wind when you arc your string. And my mother would knead my blistering hands with a song, always the same song. You see, that is how things were done in Banks. The same clothes were worn by all, the same hair and the same eyes we all had. And strangely, we were even the same height and weight, as if our bodies had been molded by some unseen God who had a liking for unity. That, or our parents had been quite dishonest with us. But I'll put that theory to bed for now. Let us remember the city as it was, and in truth, I have never seen a sight so perfect. Beauty in the soft. The memories come more in senses. The smell of wood after a summer's rainfall. The touch of a bowstring. The sound of music in the festivals. Banks was a paradise. My mother was their singer, and my father, their chief. Then came me. But if I am a fool now, what I was then can only be described as one thing: an absolute imbecile in the body of a child. I was truly and utterly stupid. I had once read a quote from some long-dead author I can't name. If something burns your soul with purpose and desire, it is your duty to be brought to ashes by it. This was the quote upon which I rested my entire existence. And so you can imagine, I was a failure. I grew up always dreaming to pull a sword from the stone, being a hero of some sort, any sort really, like the stories of Dresius Locke and Sindril Dawnfire. And of course I failed every time. I tried to be a craftsman and burned my hands. I tried to be a baker and burnt the bread. My father warned me not to try my hand at anything to do with fire, but I was young, and so I did. That is how I ended up with the burn on my upper eye that sparked all the other children calling me Ash Eyes instead of Asher, the chief's own son, with a mark on his face. They laughed at me, and they were cruel. But that's fine. Children are always pricks, aren't they? And so my childhood went on, all 200 years of it. I was 10 feet tall when I turned 10 years old. I spent the span of a standard life simply basking in the freedom of my youth. By my 10th century, I looked the same age as my father, and my mother looked even younger. Everyone in Banks looked the same after a while. But life was simple. My father and the other watchers would go out, bring back the fruits and the meat they found in the forest, and we would eat. We sustained ourselves on the forest around us. We loved ourselves. And in the nights, we would celebrate and sing together. The watchers were the most impressive part of it. The strongest and fastest men and women in our village. All 19 feet tall at the least and quick enough to catch a doe on feet alone. They navigated the forest like an extension of their own selves, and I wanted to join them more than words can say. Like I said, I wanted to pull a sword from the stone, to be a hero, to become a watcher. One needed only to do one thing, to join the others on a watch and come back alive. It was the only thing in Banks that marked danger for its residents. Entirely optional, most go their entire lives without feeling the urge to risk it. But if you remember, I had mentioned that the population in Banks stays the same, no matter the era or epoch. You might ask yourself how that could be. This too was why the Watchers existed, because the people in Banks were being hunted. My father told me it came near the winter, a creature that no eye could see and no ear could hear. Only the Watchers could find it. They're trained by my father to listen so softly to the changing winds of the forests and the pinpricks of sound of the rock that they can sense it coming, and they can watch it. The creature, you see, which we all called the Craven, hated to be seen. My father told me it was a powerful beast, but a bashful creature as well. Every year, around the winter, it would come and it would try its luck on the city of Banks, and all one had to do to stave it off for an entire year was to let it know that you could see it, to look into its eyes. This is why they were called the Watchers. And so yes, the Watchers would bring us our food and our water, but they were heroes as well, because every winter, my father would send his Watchers out through the forest to find the Craven and look into its eyes before it found Banks. For that was the one thing that could not be allowed to happen. The Craven was a harmless, unseen thing that stalked in the waves that most eyes could not see, lest they were trained by my father. But if the Craven ever reached Banks, the city proper, reached the height of my father's haven without being seen, it is said that the creature would grow so powerful it would devour Banks and the forest around it with one single act. So the Watchers had a simple task in writing: use my father's listening techniques to find the Craven. But it was a stressful thing as well. Anyone the Craven found who did not look into its eyes would disappear and never be seen again. That is the only way the people passed on in Banks, if the bashful Craven found you before you looked into its eyes. And so I lived, and I lived, and I lived. And then came the day that my life changed. It was the first true snow of the coming winter, and I was in the middle of my apprenticeship with Cleo, the master artisan who weaves our baskets. And of course, I was failing. My fingers were bleeding and pricked from all sides by the needle. Cleo was laughing as she watched me. "Keep trying, Ash Eyes," she said. "One day you'll get it." And try I did, over and over with more cuts on my fingers to show for it. That is how my father found me, laughing with Cleo as he opened the door, and Cleo stood immediately, bowing for the man. "Asher," he said to me, "come with me." And so I did, leaving Cleo and her shop behind to walk astride my father through the city paths. It was a strange day. The usual busy roads seemed empty. All were in their homes. And then I realized what day it was. "Asher," he said to me, "today is your final chance." And I realized what he meant. You see, the Watchers only allowed entry before you reached your 200th year of life. Any year after, and you could never be a Watcher. And today was the final year before my 200th birthday, and the first snow of winter. My father met my eyes. His irises the same white that burned in mine. I need you to make a choice, Asher, and I need you to make it now. The Craven will come today, and you need to decide if you'll join the Watchers. It's a fine thing to build, to create, to teach. You don't have to do what I do. I looked at the man I call father, then at the silent city, most of the people hiding in their homes for the snows and the Craven. And then I made a choice. The Craven is a coward, he tells me as we run, all 18 of us slithering through the falling snow and swiping off the trees we've made our home. I'm slower than the rest of them, all 19 feet tall, and so I linger in the rear beside my father. He hands me a strange thing, a sword with a curved blade. Use this to cut the leaves when you search. Remember to hold your breath in when you listen, so your breathing does not block your ears. And turn your ears to the wind. Filter out the swaying trees and the insects in the ground. Listen for one thing, and one thing only. The sound of breath that isn't yours. And when you find it, Asher, look into its eyes, and it will run away, gone, until the next year. You'll have done it. I need to do this for him. The Watcher that finds the Craven is always paraded when they get back home. A bouquet for his house and a banquet for his family. But more than that, glory, honor, respect. I wouldn't be a failure anymore. I need to win this. I kiss my father on the cheek and the woods swallow me. Sprinting through the forest is a strange feeling, like I'm growing senses I never knew I had. I reach out my hand and feel the leaves on my bruised fingertips. So smooth, so cold. The snow descends upon my face as I run harder, faster, swinging off the tree bark and using the motion as momentum to propel myself forward. My legs have grown, and it's been a while since I've tested them like this. The forest, it's so bleeding beautiful. The snow has made it look like something holy. I need to find it. I take in a breath, reaching a clearing in the distance. I spread both my arms wide and then I stop breathing. I turn my ears in the direction of the wind and listen for anything. I hear the swaying leaves, the insects in the grass, the birds soaring overhead, but nothing like breathing. Nothing yet. My nose pricks up when I smell it, a light thing, with all the cold in the air. But I recognize the scent anywhere. The scent I know. Fire. I sniff along as I follow it, through the forest and over the hedges until I see smoke, and again I hold my breath, breathing. And by the sound of the breaths, they're breathing quickly. I move slowly, careful in each step not to break a twig hidden in the snow as I follow the trail of smoke. It's then that I see it, through the trees and in a clearing, not far off from when I left. A strange creature is huddled beside a stranger fire. It's a small thing, perhaps 5 feet tall in its full height, and it's cold. I can tell by the way it shivers, huddling near the fire. From where I'm standing, the creature almost looks like one of us. Long hair like my mother, and eyes hard even in the snow. My heart stops when I realize it is the Craven, the bashful creature that could bring ruin to our city. It hasn't seen me yet. I haven't looked into its eyes, and then I hear steps behind me. The other Watchers, they're coming. They're far for now, but drawing closer. My heart picks up. What do I do? This thing in front of me is the Craven. I must do my duty. Pull the sword from the stone. I need to look into its eyes and send it back to where it came so my family can be safe. I nod, slapping myself. This is what I have to do. I tread slowly behind the creature, making sure my steps are light like my father taught me. I hear its breath when I draw close enough. Her breath. No, the creature's breath. It's rattling hard, so hard it cannot hear me. I need to hurry. Its steps are getting closer. I scoop it up with my hand and it yelps, like an animal caught in a trap. Asher, a voice calls out from the forest. Are you near? I look into the eyes of the bashful Craven, and I see a woman who looks just like me save for how small she is. But it's strange, she's older, as if she's aged for far longer than I have, far longer than I've ever seen a person age. She must be at least 5,000 years old by the way her skin wrinkles. I turn her in my hands. Then how is she so frail, if she is so old? Something about the grey in her hair, her face mottled and half cracked from the cold. I've lived in a land full of youth and life, so to see a woman look so grey and cold, I think she might have been the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. The one change in the land unchanging. I could not explain it to you, even now, why I did this. Like I mentioned, I was a fool. But I placed the woman in my pocket, hiding her before my father approached me in the clearing. "Asher," he said, panting breath from the run. "We smelled fire. Did you see anything?" He looks down to the small campfire and my mind reels. I was getting cold, I quickly tell him. I made it from some kindling I found lying around. He eyes me strangely, looking down at my shoulders. People from the banks hardly ever get cold. Our blood keeps us very warm. But he nods all the same, holds me in his hands. "Come, Asher. I don't think we'll find the craven today." I nod, gravely. "Let's hope we find it before the winter falls." And he rubs my back and reply, "It can't be allowed anywhere near our banks." We arrive in the city come nightfall and tell the rest of the people that we could not find the craven that night. They are sad. I can tell in the way that their faces rest, but they know we have all winter to find it. It's not urgent, not yet. My father assures them, and I watch, with the craven in my pocket, twisting strangely against my skin. My father laughs and the watchers celebrate me as their newly appointed. There is a small banquet for me, not as grand as a banquet should I have found the craven, but I enjoy it all the same, even though I feel guilty about what I've done. I eat their meals and drink their wine, and soon, when the city is drunk, tired, and asleep, I rise. I make sure the door is locked, and take the craven out of my pocket and place her on the table. She looks the same as she did in the forest, grey and old, and hard eyes all around. The 5-foot creature eyes me without flinching, standing on my table. Her mouth moves and sound comes out, but I can't understand her. I reach my hand and she flinches back, as if afraid, and so I do the same. This feels so wrong, to be going against my father like this, harboring an enemy that could potentially ruin the city. But still, I watch her. She gives up talking and points to my curved sword resting at my waist, then to her neck. As she asks me if I'm going to hurt her, I shake my head vigorously. "No, I will not hurt you." She rests her weary eyes and sits on the table. I point to myself. "My name is Asher." She tilts her head, repeating my sounds. "My name is Asher." I nod. Then she points to herself, saying sounds that I don't understand. I can barely pick it out, but her name, it's something that sounds like Mona. I jump when I realize it and I hit my head on the shelf. I laugh when I do, then cover my mouth so my parents can't hear. After the coast is clear, I look down and realize she is laughing too. A strange sting on the mouth so small, but it warms me. And so we talk slowly. I attempt to teach her the words around us: table, chair, clothing, person, fire. She teaches me the same. The night flows quickly after a while. I teach her the basics of my language and she does hers. Soon I can string a sentence together. It's then that I sleep, with the first sentence that she ever taught me on my lips. I am called human, and I sleep wondering what that is. The next day, I rush through my apprenticeship with Cleo, on my first day with the Watchers. We search the eastern wood this time, aiming to cover the right side closest to the city, to make sure that the craven is not anywhere dire, and guilt flows out as we search, but it ebbs when we come back, and I can speak with her again. When all falls dark, we rise. We talk slowly at first, of colors and shapes and mundane things. She tells me what her favorite word in my tongue is, and I tell her mine and hers. Hers is ash, mine is sea. The next day we speak of animals. She likes something called a dolphin, and I tell her how much I like the doe. And the next day we speak of songs. We both know what we're doing here, dodging the truth, weaving around what we needed to be talking about. But I enjoyed it, talking to her of the simple things. Winter grew in full, and the soft snows gave way to heavy blizzards, darker snowfalls, and we fell closer, talking of anything and everything. Even as my people were searching for her by day, I was speaking to her in the night, over and over, night after night. A spark grew in the land unchanging, and it was a darker night when she spoke to me of something that broke our delicate dance around important things. She was speaking of her fears, and then she taught me a word in her language I will never forget, a word called death. I asked her what that means, and she told me. She told me of her people, all as small as her, and some even smaller. She mentioned that they live far away, and every year they age more and more, cursed to die before they even hit a century. I actually flinch when I hear it. She tells me that death is a silence, a cold and lonely blackness without anyone you'd ever known. What a cruel fate. She laughs when I say it. Calm down, Asher. I won't be that age for some time. But you will get there, I ask her. Eventually? And she nods. We all do. I don't want you to. She smiles at me, and her face grows still. But there's one word I still haven't taught you in my language. What is it? I ask her. The word for you, for your kind, I should say. I nod, eager. What is it? Just tell me. And she sounds out the letters and I translate. Demon. What does that mean? I call out after a time. The world outside this forest is nothing like you could understand. Everyone is like me, shorter than you by 12 feet and cursed to die. I shudder. But there is a way forward, she tells me, a rumor, and by the forest it grows fruits that bestow eternal life to those who eat it, and a city of gods who slay anyone who draws near. I lean closer. Asher, every year, my king sends a tribute out in search of this forest, to attempt to make it back with the fruit of its leaves before the gods find them. Do you know what I'm saying to you, Asher? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I nod slowly. This is so much to bear. We're gods? I clear my throat. The fruits are giving us life? That's not what my father says. That's not what they tell. It's true, Asher. The only difference between you and me is the fruit that you've eaten all of your life. They heal every sickness. They make you grow tall, strong, fast. You are human, same as me. Feel my heart and call me a liar. Race to catch my breath. But that would mean we're not a happy, reclusive village. We're just hoarders. Asher, you know me now. But I'm not the only one. I have a mother. She doesn't have long for this world. I agreed to come here so I could try to get a fruit for her. Just the one. It's all I'd need to save her. And my heart drops. I think I knew this was coming. I don't just think about it, she says to me. Let's talk about something else. And we do. But even as we speak of her homeland and her favorite sites, I know my world can never be the same. I thought we were perfect. How wrong I was. I need to do something. I just found out I've been lied to. The winter watch grows more anxious. It's been months now, and we haven't found the craven. I let them watch today, just as I did yesterday, using my curved sword to trim the leaves as we search for something I know we will not find. I lie, just as I have done for months now, lying to my own kind. And on the walk back to our home, I tell my father to wait while the others leave. And we're alone in the forest. I clear my throat. I have something to tell you, Father. He turns to me, eyes like soft silver. What is it, son? I know. What do you think you know? What we are, what we've done. You're not making sense, Asher. I pull Moan out of my pocket and set her on the snow. How about now, Father? He eyes me, still perfectly calm. What did that creature whisper in your ear, son? A great many things. She told me who we are. We're hoarders, Father, clinging to an immortality that is not ours to hoard. Not ours. He tilts his head. My family has been on this forest since the first Craven Empire, boy. These humans, they're fickle things. The humans will grow old and die while we prosper. Don't say it like that. I call out. Don't say human like that. Like what? Like you're mocking it. I point around. We don't deserve this. All this decadence, the fruits, the beauty, it's all hollow. Say that to your mother, Asher. Tell her that her beauty is hollow. It's built on the backs of dying men and women. They'll die anyway, he replies. And if we can help them, we can heal their sick, mend their bones. And what would you have me do, he calls out. Would you have me give them all our fruit? Save every dying human while your own people were forced back to the way we once were? I've seen them all. Ramses sent one, Alexander another. They're all the same. The humans war and kill and rage. Death is their lot. Death is what they deserve. And are we so much better? Alone, secluded, inbred, killing anyone who dares take from us. Yes, he calls out. We are. There is no death here. No war. We're perfect. Are you truly so blind, Asher? My voice breaks. I don't know. Then I feel Mona on the back of my hand and look down to see her smile. Her hair, so grey, and her skin lined with stubbles and bumps. And I know I'm not blind. I can see clearly. There is something in her face that surpasses all the eternal beauty of the city and its people. Look at me. I call out to my father. All you see is a mirror of yourself. There's nothing different here, Father. We're not perfect. We're living statues, gorging ourselves on life, and I feel like I've lived nothing at all. It's all the same, unchanging. I look at Ramona in the falling snow, and of this I am certain. We were never meant to live this long, Father. We're not living here, not truly. My father eyes me softly. I had high hopes for you, Asher. But if you feel like this, then you should go. I look to him, into the snow, and I turn around. It will be hard to leave them, to leave everything I've ever known. But I know it is the right thing to do. I need to see the world, to truly see it, and I need to live. And so I walk away from him, away from everything. And as I walk, I hear my father's voice. But you have one thing wrong, son. We are not undying. We simply live forever, until something stops your heart. Then the curve of his sword meets my flesh, faster than any blink. It is no fight, not truly. I raise my curved sword in protest, but his is a swordcraft honed to perfection over hundreds of years. I am but a fledgling child in comparison. He leaves me in the snow, bleeding out. I had wondered how people kept on dying. When the craven sees them, and I realize it as I bleed out. Those deaths, those people were like me. They all found out the truth of what happened here. And my father, not the craven, he leaves me, bleeding, dying, and all goes black. Death is a slow thing. I feel it in the way my fingers turn colder than any snow. My heart slowing down, without blood, my lips growing hot. Wait, my lips? My eyes shoot up and expand wide. I look down at my wound and see it's patched with clothes far too small for anyone from the banks. I look up. She is gone. My head swings hard from the aching. I look around in the forest. My father has truly killed me, or at least attempted to. But for some reason that is strangely freeing. But I am not cursed to live as he does. Not cursed to be unchanging. String the arrow back the same way, sing the same song, eat the same food. I limp to my feet and rest my head against the oaken tree, looking up at the surrounding forest. The fruits glistening overhead. My wounds, I still feel them. Then I look down to my curved sword at my feet. The sword my father gave me on my first watch. It's lodged in the ground, stuck between a pile of heavy stones. I take it out slowly and clash it against the stone, again and again and again until I have a spark, and I use my clothes to carry it from my sword to the tree, and it starts to burn, and my wound finally opens up, and I'm bleeding again. But it doesn't matter. I strike the spark against the tree, even as the snow tries to quench it, even as my bones cry out in torment and my heart pumps blood out of my body, and then it starts to burn. My wound is open. I'm going to die. But I strike the fire against the tree, and I know one thing to be true. We were not meant to live this long, and as I fall, the forest of eternity burns in my eyes. I wake to the sound of rustling, blinking my eyes to see Ramona's grey-haired smile. In her hands is an orange fruit off one of our trees. It's the final one, she whispers, crying and laughing in a strange expression. It's the last one I could find in the entire forest. You well and truly burned them all. Her voice breaks slightly. I'm sorry about your mother. She'll be alright. Ramona replies, she'll die. She'll be alright. And so will I call out, you should take the fruit and give it to her. No, she whispers, you should eat it. But your mother, Asher. She meets my eyes. I think you are the only person in the entire world who deserves to live forever. I'd rather be with you, I whisper. And she smiles, then thinks for a moment and splits the fruit in two. How is this then? For you, to heal you better, and have for me. I stroke her hair, as gentle as the falling snow, and I eat the fruit. That is how we, dear children, one human and one half mortal, became the god of change and the goddess of life. At least that's what the stories say. If you'd like to hear more, remember the story continues on Patreon. You can support me to write even more should you want to. Leave a like and comment if you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for listening.